Hello, and welcome back to another guide for the Outlast trials. Today I'm going to be covering the MK challenges for the Fun Park. There are 5 total MK challenges based on the map of the Fun Park and expanding on parts of it. This guide won't be as thorough as the one for the main trial purely because of how short and quick the MK challenges can be, but I will cover the main objective, what rigs are helpful, and the enemies that can appear in each difficulty. Without further ado, let's get into it. For this trial, you'll be exploring the main Fun Park portion as well as a new area. You start off in the new area, which we'll call the Barn and the Maze. The Barn is where you'll frequently come back to in this trial. On higher difficulties, an X-Pop will be patrolling the maze area where you start off. Reaching the Barn, you come across this grinder, and now your main objective will start. You'll have to go to 4 different sections across the Fun Park and gather 4 kits to throw into it. Upstairs in the barn will most likely be your first choice to go, but you can do this in any order you'd like. Up here you'll encounter a night hunter on all difficulties. Once you find a kit, you won't be able to pick it up right away. Instead, you'll have to follow the wires coming off them to a button which will disable them and make them interactable. After you pick up a kit, they'll occasionally make noise which can attract an enemy if they're close enough to you. Bring the kit to the grinder, and then it's off to find the rest. You'll be navigating the rest of the Fun Park in 3 sections, which we'll call the Fountain, the Diner, and the Carousel. Each of these sections can be accessed by just walking to them, but there are also co-op doors which give you shortcuts. Each area will also have their own enemies patrolling them. The Fountain area will have an X-Pop patrolling the grounds, the Diner has a heavy X-Pop, and the Carousel will have an X-Pop patrolling on higher difficulties, but will also have the heavy X-Pop from the Diner occasionally making an appearance. The rest of the kids function the exact same way. Find the kid, follow the wire, push the button, grab them, then take them back to the barn. After you've thrown all 4 kids in the grinder, it's time to escape. You'll need to go back to where you entered the trial to leave. Gooseberry will spawn through the insertion gate in an attempt to cut you off from escaping. You can either try to maneuver around the area to lose her, or you can put up a blind rig before you throw in the last kit. Remember that on higher difficulties, an X-Pop will be patrolling the maze area outside the barn, and there will be a heavy X-Pop waiting for you by the shuttle. In this trial, you'll be tasked with disarming batteries to open up gates to the very end of the Fun Park. You'll be navigating the exact same map layout as you did in Punish the Miscreants, with the only exception being that you're going to have to call the shuttle where the entrance of the Fun Park was and grind the bad apples. Once you reach the barn, you'll have to go upstairs and find 3 batteries to disarm. Gooseberry will spawn through an insertion gate nearby and will patrol the same areas you'll have to look in. Once you disarm the 3 batteries, you need to go downstairs and proceed to the Fountain area of the Fun Park. Find the 3 batteries here, and then you'll move on to the Diner area. Again, find the 3 batteries, then you move on to the Carousel area, the final area you'll have to search for batteries in. After you've found the 3 batteries, the final gate will open up and you can call the shuttle. Gooseberry might make getting to the button or shuttle difficult, so make sure you have some means to defend yourself or distract her. On higher difficulties, there will be more enemies placed in the trial. In the maze just outside the barn, there will be an X-Pop patrolling. In the upstairs of the barn, there will be a night hunter. In the Fountain area, an X-Pop will be roaming the grounds. In the Diner area, the Night Hunter returns and patrols the area. In the Carousel area, a heavy X-Pop will be patrolling around. Keep in mind that on higher difficulties, there will be significantly more traps, and the map itself has a lot of closed spaces. The Jammer Rig can help take care of the prime asset traps, which are the Futterman balloons, and the mines, but it can't help with glass traps and hanging dolls. Make note of where you can hide from enemies, as the traps can sometimes get in your way if you're trying to run. For this trial, you'll once again be exploring the Fun Park portion of the map along with the barn. This time, you spawn at the Carousel area of the map, and you have to hit targets to open gates to get to the end. You're given hearts and cauldrons to use as throwables, but remember you can use any throwable item, including the stun rig. The targets you need to look out for are images of Futterman, and you'll be able to pinpoint where they are by listening for the mechanism they're attached to. The targets are in random locations in each area every time you do the trial, but the only ones that stay consistent are the one when you first spawn, and this one right by the very first gate. Also keep in mind that targets can move very sporadically, which can sometimes cause you to miss. The X-ray rig can really come in handy here, as it'll show you exactly where the targets are if you're having trouble finding them. Once you've hit all 4 targets in the carousel area, you now move on to the diner area. You might find yourself running back to the entrance to refill your inventory, but you don't need to. The diner has more hearts to use, but it's locked. In the surrounding area, you'll find a wire which you can follow to a battery you can disarm and open up the diner. Now it's just rinse and repeat until you get to the end. Gooseberry will sometimes spawn through a nearby insertion gate and patrol the area for a short time no matter where you are. On higher difficulties, an X-Pop will patrol the carousel area as well as the fountain area, and a heavy X-Pop will patrol the diner area. Remember that hitting the targets can attract any nearby enemies, so use this to your advantage if you want to distract them. Once you've opened up the last gate, you can enter the barn and then you can escape. Or that's what I would be saying if I wasn't a huge liar.
What in heaven's name is wrong with you? Nobody leaves Mother. This party never ends.
3 targets remaining.
The shuttle has now arrived. Gooseberry prevents you from leaving, and now you'll have to find 3 more targets to escape. The targets are located in the upstairs portion of the barn, and on higher difficulties, Gooseberry will immediately spawn up there along with a Night Hunter. It's good to know that the 3 targets also don't move as randomly as the previous ones do, but they do move pretty quickly. The important thing to remember here is to stay calm, and don't even worry about the timer. You have 3 whole minutes until the shuttle leaves, so take your time. But also hurry up. Once you hit all 3 targets, now you can escape for real. You'll need to reach the end of the maze section where you spawn and punish the Miscreants and open the gates. On higher difficulties, an X-Pop or heavy X-Pop will be patrolling the maze along with Gooseberry. Since you don't have to wait for the shuttle once you get there, you can run straight to it without having to worry about being seen. In this trial, you'll be going back to the root canal. You need to reach the human Futterman in Gooseberry's office, and to do that, you'll need to hit 12 Futterman targets. At the start, you have a choice of where to go. Both canals have 6 Futterman targets to hit, and both sides can spawn either an X-Pop or a heavy X-Pop. You'll find a cauldron of hearts right where the slope is in both canals. The targets are randomly placed every time you do the trial, but the only 2 that stay consistent are the 2 right above the cauldrons. Once you find and hit all 6 targets on one side, go up the slope and make your way to the other canal. It doesn't matter which side you go to first, but personally I always take care of Canal A first because there are no dark areas there and I just like to get that out of the way. After you've hit all 12 targets, you now need to go to the second floor of the ride and jump down this ledge to make it to Gooseberry's office. You can go either left or right. Both paths lead to the same place eventually, but be warned that there is a Night Hunter here patrolling either side. Once you've made it to Gooseberry's office, you can now drill the Futterman. All reagents will have to be in the room for this. After this poor guy is done with, you now have to escape back to where you entered. However, the doors behind you are now all blocked, so your only option is to go through the offices on the 3rd floor. This part is intended to be a maze, but once you know the layout, it's much easier to navigate. On higher difficulties, the 3rd floor will be more populated with X-Pop, but as long as you just rush to the 1st floor, you should be fine. I'd recommend going through Canal B making your way to the exit, as its darker area can help you escape easier if you're being chased. Gooseberry will spawn through an insertion gate nearby once you're close to the shuttle, but as long as you're hidden, she won't see you. If she does happen to see you, try to juke her around the guardrails here, or through one of the canals. Or you could just use the most broken rig in the game. In this trial, you're once again tasked with exploring the root canal. When you immediately spawn in, you grab a ticket, and you're tasked with finding 9 more to redeem at a ticket booth in Gooseberry's office. You'll need to find 4 more on the 1st floor of the ride, and 5 more on the 3rd floor. You won't be able to carry more than 4 tickets at a time, so go to Gooseberry's office to redeem the ones you have before going off to find more. If you find a ticket machine but can't carry any more tickets, you can check your status to see where the ticket machine is at if you're far away from it. On higher difficulties, this icon is absent, however. Gooseberry will be patrolling her office and will sometimes use the stairs to briefly go to the 1st and 3rd floor. You can set up a blind rig or use a stun rig on her if you want to redeem your tickets without waiting for her to leave. On both the 1st and 3rd floor, you'll mostly find X-Pop patrolling around. and on higher difficulties, a heavy X-Pop will patrol the first and third floor along with the other X-Pop. After you've turned in all 10 tickets, it's time to escape. You have to go back to where you entered just like in Drill the Futterman. However, this time you're free to use any route you want. I recommend going downstairs to one of the canals as they're the fastest way to getting back. You may or may not find Gooseberry waiting for you by the shuttle depending on how fast you were and depending on if she was busy being stunned. Just like in Drill the Futterman, you can use the guardrail here to juke her, or you can use the stun or blind rig to hinder her, and aggressively crouch in front of her to show your superiority. And with that, that's every MK challenge in the Fun Park. If I'm being honest, the Fun Park program is my least favorite of all the trials, but that doesn't make them bad. I just have horrible memories from when the Thief loadout variator was one of the only ways to get a challenge from the main trial. I actually really enjoy the latest trials that came from the Fun Park. I remember how much Deface The Futtermans caught me so off guard by having the shuttle already arrive, and panicking so much trying to find the last 3 targets. And Redeem Your Freedom is a great and fun trial too. I'm glad I got these trials out of the way now. Join me next time for one of my favorite trials. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the sleep room.